All right. Let's see. Are we live right now? There's only one way to find out. All right, 1 second here. Ooh. All right. It does say I'm live. Okay. All right, friends. It's been a while since I sat here with you guys and talked and talk about just stuff. Talk about life, talk about business, and just yap my life away as I usually do anyway. But today is going to be very interesting. There's really not much that I have prepared for this stream. It's more of there's just something on my mind that was introduced to me a few days ago. I would probably say about a week and a half ago actually. And it's when I was with my mentor. He was sharing me this concept called the 80-20 rule. And essentially, the concept is that 20% of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis are actually yielding you the 80% of the results. Let me say that again. 20% of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis are the things that are yielding you 80% of the results. And so what does that mean? That means that the other 80% of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis are all just fluffs. Those things do not move the needle. And to me, this was big. This was like a very shocking moment for me because I thought that, that seems so off. Like, how is it that only 20% of the things that I'm doing is yielding the 80% of the results that I actually am looking for? But taking a moment and taking a step back and really analyzing the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of the times, I guess I can talk about myself here. It's really hard for me to talk about, your situation, but I can talk about my situation, about, my productivity and my journey of entrepreneurship in the last, closing on 6 years now, being full-time for over 3 years. And, it's interesting on how sometimes we like to say that we're so busy, but I mean, not we, I'll talk about myself. Sometimes I got so caught up with this idea that, I'm super busy, I'm doing so many things. And so like, I don't have a lot of time to do anything. But then I've come to realize that a lot of the things that I'm busy with are things that don't necessarily really move the needle. So for example, if I'm running a business, my main focus is generating revenue. So anything that doesn't move the needle of me getting one step closer to getting another client shouldn't be something on my schedule. A lot of the times when, sometimes you even have 4 or 5 hour meetings. I know, it sounds so crazy. 4 or 5 hour meetings that lead to nothing. Sometimes you sit in a room with your business partners, with your partners, and there's literally nothing moving. You're literally just having conversations to just the sake of having conversations. You kind of just ideate, but nothing is really moving. So that 5 hour time that I would put into this meeting that I thought was productive wasn't serving me, wasn't serving the business. And so that would fall into the 80% of the things that we put into our schedule that really doesn't yield you any return. Whereas if you have 1 or 2 sales meeting that day, or whenever I would have those sales meeting that day, and if I close one or both of them, that's moving the needle. But the thing is that 1 or 2 meeting would probably only take 2 hours of my day, 3 hours at most, but yet doing those 2 tasks would yield me the biggest return with my business, because that's actually going to be generating revenue. Anything else, everything else didn't really matter, right? Fixing the bio on my Instagram, making everything look so pretty. none of those things are yielding you the return that you're looking for. I mean, the result that you're looking for. So I've come to realize that throughout the years, I have so much fluff in my day. There's so much fat. And these things do not serve you nor serve your business. And sometimes it's very hard. It's very hard to take a step back and acknowledge that 80% of the things that you're doing every single day has no purpose, which is crazy, right? But the moment you can acknowledge this, and it's so crazy because I'm finally only kind of really acknowledging this now since it was introduced to me about a week and a half ago. And so right now, one of my biggest tasks is going on my calendar and just putting stuff in that will actually move the needle, putting things that will actually yield the results that I'm looking for, right? So for example, I'm no longer going to be putting meetings that don't really serve purpose on my calendar, because those are just things that sometimes we put so much time and effort into it, making a time block for an hour or 2 hours for a meeting that can just be done over text. Let me just get my point across. Let me just send you 1, 2, 3 messages, and that's it. I don't have to block that time out of my day and constantly have to think about that. Because I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation where sometimes you have this one meeting in the middle of the day, and because it's in the middle of the day, it kind of takes over your mental capacity a little bit. It's more of like it's so awkwardly placed in your day where you can't really commit to anything big in the morning because you have this meeting in the middle of the day, and then so you have to push everything back after that meeting, which kind of is really annoying because it removes the freedom to just move. Now, that might be a me problem, that might be a skill issue because I'm not time blocking things properly. But what I'm saying is, if I no longer think those things are important, because those things are not important, I can avoid that 100%. Because now I'm not dreading the fact that I have this random meeting in the middle of the day. Because if that random meeting was replaced with a sales meeting where I'm about to close a client, then it doesn't feel such an inconvenient. It's actually something I look forward to because that's actually going to yield revenue for the business, which is what I really want. So that's just an example, right? Another thing that I really want to get rid of is more of just little like details, like administrative task that takes up too much mental capacity that can either just be delegated to someone else or just time blocked into one specific day of the week. I don't have to do multiple miscellaneous things throughout the day, or I don't have to do small miscellaneous things every single day. Whereas if I can just put it into one big bulk of work and do it at the end of the week or the beginning of the week, I get it all done. So it no longer taking mental power. And so, yeah, of course, those things are really important. You got to do those things, and those things really do serve you from a bigger picture. But now that I'm really acknowledging this, there's just so many things. There's just so many things that we as entrepreneurs fall into. Sometimes people will fall into thinking that, hey, I need to do market research. Hey, I need to study. I need to do all these things. But ultimately, none of those things really move the needle, right? And so, yeah, it's just very interesting. And looking back at it now, I'm wondering on how many hours, how many days, how many hours, and if all those hours were put together, how many days or months or even years does that equate to of the 80% that I was just doing that didn't really yield me any of the results? It's really interesting. It's really interesting, I guess. And for the most part, now that I'm really thinking about it, when I was running my marketing agency, it does make a lot of sense because I was not part of the operation. I knew that if I was at the operation where my team was shooting the content with the clients, I didn't need to be there. And sometimes I just thought that I'd want to go just for the vibe, just for me to be around. But sometimes I would realize that I don't need to be there. Me being there served no purpose. It might seem like it's being productive. Sometimes we mask things to making them think that they're actually productive, but they're really not. It's all false. It's all a facade. Me being there doesn't change anything. My team is going to take care of it regardless whether I'm there or not. So me spending the 2, 3, 4 hours of filming time with them isn't moving the needle. That's just fluff, right? I might think sometimes that, hey, I'm productive, I can help out here and there, but regardless whether I'm there or not, the work will get done. Where I was important was, doing client acquisition, talking to clients, making content. That's when I was moving the needle. And so, yeah, this is going to be a short stream. I just wanted to go on here and really yap. I'm looking at this right now. We don't really have any viewers right now, but that is my fault. This is my fault for being so inconsistent. But yeah, I've definitely been preoccupied with a lot of things, and I've never been in a better position this year than now. And I don't want to jinx it, but I've been kind of MIA on YouTube, but I have been relatively active. But there's some big things that I have planned out in the future, and I hate the fact that I even just said that, because I just don't want to say it. I just want to do it. But yeah, it's March 19th. What a crazy time of the year it is. It's almost end of Q1. Take that in. It's almost the end of Q1. So maybe perhaps this is an opportunity for me to check in with you. How's your New Year's resolution? Have you been keeping up? Do you even remember your New Year's resolution? When was the last time you visited that? Right? I mean, for me right now, if you're asking that question to me, how's my New Year resolution going? It's going okay. I constantly am reminding myself, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at my New Year's resolution. I framed it up. And so there's 6 things on there. And those things are in motion. I haven't made as much progress as I wanted to, for sure. I mean, at the end of the month, 25% of the year is already completed. As crazy as that sounds, 25% of the year has already been completed in about 10 days, about 11 days. What a crazy time we live in. It's so insane on how the older we get, times just move so much quicker. But yeah, I hope your New Year resolution is in motion. Hopefully you still even remember it. Hopefully this is reminding you that, hey, that New Year resolution was something important to you about 3 months ago. And so if you had forgotten about it, bring it back up. But anyway, like I said, I didn't want to make this a very long live. I didn't really have anything planned. I just wanted to sit on here and talk to you guys about the 80-20% rule. I think it's very important. It's a nice reminder. Right now, I'm not saying that you should cut off everything that you're doing, 80% of the things that you're doing, because it's going to take time. Sometimes you don't even know which of the tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis are actually moving the needle. So it might take some time. I mean, for me, I know what I need to do. I know what tasks are generating revenue. I know which tasks are going to be generating revenue. And so those things are the ones that are really putting a lot of focus on, right? Everything else is just fluff. It's just fat. It serves nothing, right? It's just, we love to put ourselves on a pedestal and lie to ourselves and say, hey, I'm so busy. Look at me doing so many things. But at the end of the day, hey, has that generated you money? Is that thing really moving your needle? And if the answer is no, then you need to have the ability to call out your own bullshit. And it's funny because now that I am, seeing things from a different perspective, I kind of move a bit different now. I move a bit slower now. It's so interesting that I say that, but I'm moving a bit slower now, but I'm moving with more intent, with more intention. And I call out my own bullshit. So, understanding the 80-20% rule, I have been able to call out my bullshit and really reflect back on how I used to operate, on how I used to think, and the mindset that I used to have. And a lot of it was just all bullshit. But hey, listen, sometimes people mature later in life, and I definitely am one of those people. And, perhaps maybe it's not that I'm actually maturing, it's just this is the time that I actually took the time to reflect and really acknowledge all these things. But hey, it's never too late. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, there's no viewers here, but I'm still able to yap to you guys, and hopefully the ones that come across this video, once this is uploaded on YouTube, I hope that this serves you in a positive way. Hopefully this serves you as a reminder. Hopefully this served you as an eye-opening moment, in the same way that it was an eye-opening moment for me, right? So yeah, 80-20 rule. 20% of the things you do on a day-to-day basis are the ones that are yielding you the result that you want. All the other 80% that you're doing are only yielding you 20%. And so, yeah, do what you will with that information. But for me, the thing that I'm doing with that information is removing the fluff. Just get to the good stuff. Stop lying to yourself. I'm going to stop lying to myself. I'm not as busy as I say I am, right? There's a difference between being busy and being productive. The 20% that you do on a day-to-day basis are probably the things that are actually productive. Everything else is just being busy. What's the difference? Me washing the dishes, me doing the laundry, me miscellaneously cleaning the house. That's me being busy. Me going on sales calls, me working on my sales funnel. Those things are being productive in terms of moving the needle for my business, right? And I'm only talking about business here. I'm not talking about your personal life. I'm not talking about your health. I'm just talking about business. Business. This is what this channel is all about. Yes, I introduce life stuff here and there, and hopefully in the future I want to be able to implement some fitness stuff, but right now I'm talking strictly about business. I'm not saying that cleaning your house is not important. I'm not saying that doing the dishes or doing your laundry is not important, because those things are really important for sure. But those things can be classified as just being busy, not productive from a business perspective. But from a perspective of like keeping a healthy lifestyle, you want to make sure that you are hygienic. Do your fucking laundry. Don't go out smelling like shit. Go do your dishes. You don't want people to come over to your place and there's like 25 dishes on the what is it called, on the sink. But anyway, I'm yapping too much. You know me, I can yap forever. Perhaps I can yap for another 20 minutes, but I'm not gonna do that to you guys. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And most importantly, thank you for trying. Peace. Peace.